My name's Dylan McKenzie, and this is my Tesla story. Yeah, I'm prior military. So while I was in, I honestly I didn't really follow the news outside of what we were doing that much. So I didn't even know Tesla existed for quite some time. I got out in 2015, and I had a Ford Expedition, a 2003. So that thing was eating up so much gas, and it's you kind of don't realize something like that is eating a hole in your wallet until it gets to that point where it's unsustainable. And in kind of like mid 2018, I kind of came into that point where I needed to make the decision. I'm like, this thing is eating a hole in my wallet because I was going 40 miles one way commute going back and forth from school, and I was a full-time student. So I was spending several $1,000s on gas, and I just couldn't. I was going to be out of money soon. I was going to be out of my savings that I saved up. So I started doing research. I was looking at cars, and I was like, this might be all right, but nothing was really sitting well with me. I didn't feel like I was really making like kind of like a future, like something for the future, like a future proof. It would just be something for the now if I was going to get another car. So I delved in a little bit deeper. I just saw Tesla. People were saying, "Oh yeah, Tesla cars, electric," and so like it wasn't even necessarily Tesla. So I just looked into electric cars, and I explored all the options. I think there was like the Leaf or the Bolt or something like that at the time, and they didn't really have any miles. But the electric thing kind of had me. I was like, okay, I'm interested in this electric, and it's funny because at first, I really never thought like that's not something I would consider myself to have or to own. Like, oh, me with an electric car, like, I don't know, like that was kind of it kind of seemed like not like a fantasy, but kind of like it seemed a little bit like too high reaching for myself, and I never really knew the prices of those things at the time. So yeah, but I just kept looking more and more into it. So I came across like a couple different electric vehicles, and then I eventually like I saw Tesla, and I had my eyes on them. I was like, wow, this looks like a really nice car, really nice like specifications on it. But then I kept exploring further and further, and the more I went and looked out at other cars, it was very clear to me that this car really was the best pick for me at that time, and I just think in general for 2018. Yeah, I went through the financials, and the truck that I had really was killing me, and I said I could actually make money with all the several $1,000s of gas that I'm paying just to commute back and forth to college. So yeah, I did something that I didn't think I would. Yeah, I worked all the numbers out, and I said this can work. I can make this work. So I ordered the car. At the time, there was 3 or 4 different kinds, but I know there was the standard range, the medium, the mid range, and then the long range. I got the mid range, and the range has been more than enough for me because I thought I did have my initial concerns before buying, and I thought maybe charging would be an issue because I live in an apartment, and I looked around for like plugs before I even started buying it, and there's absolutely nothing unless I live on the second floor, so I'd have to dangle a cord outside the window to plug into my Tesla. And I even asked the management there if I could, and they said we might have to send something up, but I don't think so. So it kind of just stopped that in its tracks right there. But yeah, but even after all of that, I saw the charging stations too. The I had a charging station 20 miles north of me, and then another charging station that was about 48 miles south, which was where the college was. So what I would do is I would go to college, and then afterwards I'd drive further another 8 miles just to get to that charging station. That was kind of my plan. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to do this. Maybe I can charge at somebody's house, whatever. So financially, this fit perfectly for me. Like this was gonna cut my gas bill. It was just gonna turn into zero. And it was almost unbelievable the cost savings of electric. So yeah, I went with it, and I ordered it in November, and I got it in December of 2018. Yeah, I went there. I picked it up. I got in the car, and it was like nothing I've ever been in my life. It's very hard to explain. The kind of the only way to describe it is to like sit in one for yourself. But one of the craziest things to me, and one of my favorite things now, is the regenerative braking, where you don't have to actually hit your brakes to stop. One of my favorite things at all in general about the car. So that right away, I had that activated when I rolled right off the lot, and yeah, I was kind of like stopping and going a little bit with that, because every time you take your foot off the accelerator, the car just starts stopping. So it was kind of weird, but you get used to that stuff quickly, and you learn to like a lot of the features that are there to help you. As I drove it more, I was like, this was like really the right decision for me. Like this car is amazing. I can't believe like the technology and just the progression they've made with vehicles in general. I just didn't even think like this stuff was like, I guess, in reality where we are right now. Like maybe in the future, but I was blown away. And so back to the charging issues that I thought I might have had. I was charging off of superchargers exclusively for, I want to say, the first year. I would spend, and this is when the superchargers were a little bit slower, so I'd probably spend about like 40 minutes charging my car every other trip that I would make to the college. The mid-range allowed me to go a little bit further without constantly charging. So it was a good fit. That was a really good fit for me with the commute that I was making, and still would be making if it wasn't for the current situation and pandemic that we're facing. But back to the story. Soon after the college, and it seemed like everywhere, just like stations were popping up, charging stations, and like parking spots with chargers popped up at my school. They popped up at like a bank nearby my place. I didn't go to the bank. I would just go there to charge sometimes. And it would be more than enough to get me to where I need to go to either get to school to charge, but normally school itself would be way more than enough to get me there and back. I would have made all my miles back, and then more than enough to get me back to school then. So like there were only like 20 mile an hour, 15 miles an hour charge rate for the school charging. So and I was there all day long, so it really worked out for me. But like I said, chargers popped up everywhere. I have a supercharger 2 minutes from my house. Like I can basically walk there, and that's been really helpful for me. As far as the challenges I faced with the supercharging all the time, when I would charge twice or 3 times a week, it would slow me down towards the end of the week, but that was really it. It wasn't a big deal. It wouldn't even take that much longer. It was the beginning and the end of the battery that would take me most of the time for charging. So it wasn't too big of a problem. I would go eat too, because they always have the charging stations like in like shopping mall areas or places of interest where you can do stuff. As I just had the vehicle, like it's not that I wasn't paying close attention to my financials, but I started noticing that there was more and more money in my bank account. I was just making money. I was like, oh, I guess I have a little bit more income now because all this money isn't going to my truck. And I also noticed that I'm like, wow, there's no maintenance on this thing whatsoever. Like all I've done is 1 tire rotation, and it's cost me $20. It's so weird to say that like purchasing a vehicle was almost like a new source of income for me, because now I don't have to pay for any parts. I don't have to pay for repairs or just gas in general, because it was only costing me anywhere from like $3 to $9 to charge the Tesla up in basically to full for the most part. It's like 15 on the high end when you're like somewhere that has a high rate, but I don't really see that often anymore. The high end now is like, it's like $9 or something like that. And it's interesting. The interesting time that I bought this car is there was I think it was the enhanced autopilot was the feature at the time, and I bought into that. But because I bought into that, and because I had all these savings and this extra money that I was incurring, the full self-driving that came out, it was either like a year and a half later or so, roughly. They announced it and they're like, hey, we're full self-driving, it's going to be able to do it all. And I said sure, and I had that money now, because it was costing me several $1,000s in gas, and now I had that several thousand to put back into other things that I need. And full self-driving it's been amazing to me. With that 40-mile commute that I was doing, I would just throw it into the autopilot or the full self-driving, and like it would, like, obviously I'd be doing the supervising, but it would be doing all the driving for me, and it would really kind of take like you don't even notice it, but you get really tired driving, and it really helps you stay alert and alleviate a lot of that stuff. So when you get to work or when you get to class, or even when you get back home, you're not feeling as tired or drained from like just traffic, because stop and go traffic, like this takes care of all of that. And that's one of the things that gets me the most, is like I can't stand just stop go stop go stop go. It frustrates me. So I'm sure that frustrates few people. But I was able to get full self-driving. It's fantastic. I honestly would never want to go back to a car that's not capable of doing that. And honestly, Tesla has been so good to me that I'll stick with them. Oh yeah, so I have 24,000 miles on the car right now, and I've had it since December 2018, and it's September 2020 right now, and it's been holding up really well. The only thing I've had to replace was the window actuator. It got a little wonky, and it was just like when I'd press it down, it would like go back up or something. Or no, the other way around. When I pressed it to go up, it would go back down when all the other windows are going up. And the climate thing, the climate sensors weren't really, they were malfunctioning or something, but they replaced all that stuff for free. It's like all under warranty. So Tesla Service Center, I've heard people say mixed things about it, but I had nothing but an amazing experience with them. It's funny because I have this weird situation I do with my phone. I have my phone numbers through Skype, but I have a plan with Verizon on a hotspot, so it's just turns out to be cheaper for me that way. And my phone number that's linked to Skype wouldn't work with Uber when they tried to give me Uber vouchers. So they worked with me to get that to work, and they stayed with me for like, I want to say like an hour and a half, just trying to get me to send me home while they were doing all this maintenance. And so yeah, they were great. They were really helpful, and they really took care of me as a customer. So I had a good experience with the Tesla Center. Honestly, I see myself driving this thing until like warranty like kicks in for the new battery. And I would love to see, like, obviously if they give me the same battery that I had in the past, I wouldn't complain, because this has been great for me. I only have like a tiny amount of drain to the battery. I think I'm only like a little bit under than what I got, but they've also upgraded the mileage. Like you get like a 5% increase or something like that on the acceleration and all that other stuff since it's came out. So the updates have been great. Oh yeah, battery day, exactly. Speaking of batteries, battery day is coming up. I can't wait to see what they have, and maybe more information on like people with like warranties and what they can see in the future when they reach the certain amount of years or the certain amount of miles before you can get the battery replaced. Um, that'll be cool to see. So I definitely recommend checking that out. That's happening actually pretty soon, within a few days now. So like something else I was really surprised about the car when I got it was that how much space it had. Like the front, yeah, it's cool. There's like a little bit of space. You fit your shopping bags in there, maybe a couple of things. It's like that deep, roughly. Um, but in the trunk, there's like a false floor that you can pull up, and there's just so much space in there. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. It's very deep. Sorry, somebody made a joke behind the camera. Uh, I don't know what I should say what he said, but I won't. Yeah, there's a lot of space, and I thought I would. And the thing is, being in a truck, being that high, I thought I was gonna miss the height and like the space, because I'm a pretty tall guy, or relatively tall. I'm 6'1", so I kind of need like the leg room. I need to have the chair pushed back a little. I liked being higher, like seeing over cars and stuff like that, and yeah, just the space in general. But I realized, just being a guy that just living in an apartment by himself, I wasn't like in like construction or doing anything like that, or where I would need a ton of space for the truck. So like, I realized how much of the space I didn't actually need, and the truck, I didn't really need it that much in terms of like the space and what you would utilize a truck for normally. So I don't miss being up high, or I don't miss like all the extra space that I had. It was just excessive. Like a lot of the stuff that I had was just excessive. This shows me that you don't need all that stuff. You can really minimize just in general. I'm not a guy that had a lot of money. I still don't have a ton of money. And I bought this car when it was in its higher, on the higher end, like higher price, but it was still very cheap compared to what I was getting with the competitors. It was a great savings and a really great deal for me. So I think getting it when I got it I don't regret buying it whatsoever at the price point that it was, for the mid-range. One thing that I thoroughly enjoy with the vehicle is the audio in the car, the audio quality and the sound. I think we were kind of looking it up and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I have the premium audio. I think it came with the mid-range. It's amazing. I don't know what the regular one sounds like, so I can't say like, yeah, get the premium over the regular, but I mean, it sounds amazing, especially if you like. One thing that I noticed with audio is you can listen to it basically as loud as you want, and it doesn't hurt your ears. I'm sure anyone that knows like that are audiophiles or whatever you'd like to be titled as, you would know that like it shouldn't hurt your ears, like even if it's like a little bit louder or if you keep bumping up the volume. So I really enjoy how the car sounds in terms of like playing music and stuff like that. I just appreciate all like the little things, like the little updates they do with they just came out with the windows. Like when you leave, it automatically rolls the windows up. I'm still kind of getting used to it because I always like put the windows up as like just kind of like an instinct or as an automatic response. But I like the little updates they do. So like you just leave and you just walk away from your car, it'll lock. That's what it would do normally, but now the windows also go up when you do that. And you can also see if your like doors are open from your app, and it just gives you like an extra layer of like, oh, did I leave something open, or did I forget to close something? Well, the app's gonna tell you now. So like it's like I was trying to think of things that I would like for them to improve on, but it seems like every time I have something that I would ask for, it's coming out in the next update. And it's funny because you see people tweeting like at Elon, like, oh, can we get this? Can you add this? Can you fix this? He's like, sure, okay, got it. Like, gonna do it. Like, I guess it just maybe just ask the guy if he wants something on Twitter and he'll give it to you. I don't know, but yeah, it's just all the problems that I wouldn't say problems, but the things that I've like wanted it they've all been fixed or added, or things that I didn't even know I wanted have been added. Like I've watched Netflix in the car once. Like it does everything and more, really. It's Yeah, it's been great. It's been a really safe car for me. I've actually avoided two would-be accidents because it not only does it notify you, you can set settings to have it notify you however you want, but I have mine at max because I just want to know. I want to know early, but it'll like assist you in avoiding the accident. And one time I like had my flip flops on, and then I I was like on the accelerator, and like my flip flop slipped, and like my foot also like went under the pedal somehow. I couldn't get to the brake, and because it was a shorter stop than necessary for using the regenerative braking. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without the regular brake, but the car, it braked for me, so I completely avoided rear-ending somebody. And it also, there was somebody coming in from my blind spot. They were just, I guess they didn't see me or something, or maybe they were trying to hit me. I don't know. They're bumper cars or something, but it avoided that for me. And now it alerts you when stuff's like, it used to alert you when it was in your blind spots, but now with updates it does a better job, and now you have access to the side cameras like at all times if you want. So it's great. So they just keep adding more and more things to make the car a lot safer. And I think the car being as safe as it is, and making driving pleasurable experience, and you can experience that however you like, whether you're just manually driving the car all the time, or having it in autopilot, or having it in full self-driving. You can change your experience to how you want it, and I think that's really nice. There's like an in between for everything, if you want it. So that's it's been great to me, and I love it for the safety of the car too. Yeah, I'm Dylan McKenzie. Thanks for listening to my story on my Model 3, and yeah, have a good one.